Hey, Julian Kraus here, and a few people asked me if you could use the Zoom H1 for voiceover work. Well, let's find out. Here I'm sitting right in front of my PC, and this is where I do all my voiceovers. I got my script up on the screen here, and here I would normally have the microphone. But today I'm going to use the Zoom H1n. You are already hearing the sound of the H1n. I got the H1n's mics placed about 10 centimeters or about 4 inches away from my mouth, and as you can see I placed a pop filter in front of the H1n because the H1n's microphones are really sensitive to wind or plosives. And I really have to say this up front, if you are planning to use the H1n for any kind of voiceover work, you really do need a pop filter, otherwise it will sound like this. I now remove the pop filter, and as you can hear, the slightest breeze over the mic capsules will distort the audio. So this is really far from professional audio recording. So a pop filter is absolutely necessary if you want to make the H1n work in a voiceover setup. I also have to confess that I did already change some settings in the H1n to perform its best in this setup. So let me quickly show you my settings and explain why I use them. The sampling rate and bit depth I have set to 48K and 24-bit. This way the Zoom H1n will record a very high quality WAV file to get the best sound quality possible. The low cut is set to 80 Hz. This way low frequency rumble from hitting the table or plosives are attenuated, and because human voice usually does not go down to 80 Hz, the low cut does not change the sound of my voice too much. I got the limiter turned off because under certain circumstances it can increase the noise floor. I actually made a whole video about this topic if you're interested, and I will leave a link in the description. But yeah, I got the limiter turned off because when doing a voiceover, my voice is usually pretty constant in loudness and there is hardly any risk of clipping. The auto level is turned off because I set my gain manually. And this brings me to the gain knob. In my setup here, when I'm talking with my normal voice, I have to turn the gain to about level 6.5 to get my peaks to hit between -18 and -12 decibels. Of course, if you would replicate this setup, it is very likely that you do have to use a different gain because not everybody speaks with the same volume, but this should still give you a pretty good starting point. By the way, if you want to see a even more in-depth tutorial on which settings to use on the H1n, then check out my beginner's guide, which I will also link in the description below. Okay, back to topic. To make the recording sound this good, I actually have another trick up my sleeve and I will show it to you. The H1n actually has 2 microphone capsules and they are placed in an XY stereo configuration. This way the H1n records in stereo, which is usually great because it captures more of the ambience and you get a more spacious sound. But for voiceover, this is actually undesirable. When you record a voiceover, you usually want to isolate your voice and you do not want to have that many ambient sounds in your recording. So the trick is to convert the stereo recording into a mono file by mixing together the left and right channel. This way you will end up with a recording with a much more isolated and focused voice. Let me show you what I mean. Now you're listening to the recording of the H1n in stereo, and you can hear quite a bit of the room, and also my voice sounds pretty spacious. This is especially apparent on good speakers or headphones. And now let me switch back to mono again. This is the sound of the H1n in mono. I didn't change anything else in this setup here. I simply mixed the left and right channel together, and this is how it sounds like. Of course, in post-production you can do much more to make it sound better. You might use an EQ to tame the high frequencies of the H1n a bit because the mic seems to have a high frequency boost. You can use compression to level out the audio and even use some noise reduction if you have to. But that's a topic for another video. Okay, now let me finally answer the question, is the H1n suited for voiceover work? Well, the H1n is definitely not my first choice of equipment to record a voiceover with, but I also have to say that I was pleasantly surprised by the voiceover capabilities of the H1n. With the H1n close to your mouth, a pop filter in front and the right settings, you can definitely record clean dialogue. Okay, that's all for now. If you do have any questions, leave them in the comment below. and subscribe to my channel for more videos about audio recording. I see you in the next one.